What if I told you that your fear of being seen without clothes has nothing to do with your body and everything to do with your brain? Across the world, millions feel instant anxiety at the thought of exposure, even when no real threat exists. Why? Is it instinct, culture, judgment? And here's the shocking part. In some societies, this fear doesn't exist at all. So what changed? In the next few minutes, you'll discover why your brain reacts the way it does, and how clothing became more than fabric. It became psychological armor. It touches something deeper, something ancient wired into our very being. When we stand without the familiar weight of clothing, a primal alarm begins to sound, not on our skin, but deep within the oldest parts of our brain. It is a vulnerability that transcends the physical realm and speaks to a fundamental human experience of being seen, truly and completely seen, without any buffer between ourselves and the world. This sensation is universal, a silent hum of unease that connects us all. This deep-seated response originates in a small, almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's smoke detector. Its primary job is to scan our environment for threats, constantly asking the question, am I safe? When the amygdala senses potential danger, predator in the wild, an unstable ledge, or even the sudden feeling of being physically exposed, it triggers a rapid, instinctual fear response. It doesn't pause to reason or analyze. It simply reacts, flooding our system with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, preparing us for fight, flight, or freeze. This reaction is a life-saving evolutionary gift, a holdover from a time when exposure often meant immediate peril. The amygdala does not differentiate between a real threat and a perceived one. To this primitive part of our mind, the vulnerability of being unclothed can feel synonymous with being defenseless. It is an echo of our ancestors' reality, where being without cover meant being at the mercy of the elements and predators. Our heart rate might increase, our senses might sharpen. We feel a physiological shift, a state of heightened alert, all because a layer of woven fiber has been removed. Our modern logical brain knows we are safe in our homes, yet the amygdala whispers a different, more ancient story of caution and risk. But what if vulnerability has nothing to do with danger, and everything to do with social judgment? This is where the human experience becomes infinitely more complex. Our brains did not stop evolving on the savannah. Tribes, communities, sprawling societies, a new kind of threat emerged, the threat of social rejection. Being cast out of the group, being shamed, being deemed unworthy meant a loss of resources, protection, and belonging. It was a social death that often led to a literal one. Our fear of exposure shifted from the physical to the social. This new fear is not processed by the amygdala alone. It engages the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for complex social cognition. We began to see ourselves through the eyes of others. This social mirror became a powerful force shaping our behavior. Suddenly, being unclothed was not just about being physically vulnerable. It was about being emotionally and socially naked. It meant having our flaws, our imperfections, and our bodies laid bare for the scrutiny and judgment of the tribe. The fear was no longer just, will I be attacked? But will I be accepted? Am I good enough? In this new social landscape, clothing became more than just a shield against the cold. It transformed into a language, a system of codes and signals used to communicate our place within the group. It was the first and most immediate way to signal conformity, to show that we understood and respected the rules of the tribe. To be dressed correctly was to be safe within the social structure. To be dressed incorrectly or not at all was to risk being ostracized. This is a deep-seated anxiety that persists today every time we stand in front of a mirror and ask, what will they think of this? The vulnerability we feel is therefore a complex blend of ancient instinct and modern social conditioning. Our brains are trying to protect us from two kinds of danger at once. The first is the primal fear of physical harm, a whisper from the amygdala. The second, and often louder fear, is the dread of social judgment, a product of our highly developed social consciousness. We are not just afraid of what might happen to our bodies. We are profoundly afraid of what others will think of us. This is the crucial turning point in understanding why a simple layer of fabric holds so much power over our minds. This fear of social judgment is not an abstract concept. It is woven directly into the fabric of our cultures. This fear of social judgment is not an abstract concept. It is woven directly into the fabric of our cultures. This fear of social judgment is not an abstract concept. It is woven directly into the fabric of our cultures. For our earliest ancestors, clothing was born from necessity. An animal hide provided warmth and protected the skin from thorns and rough terrain. Its purpose was purely functional, a practical solution to the challenges of survival. The meaning was simple and direct. This covering helps me stay alive. There was little room for interpretation or social nuance. The value of a piece of clothing was measured by its utility, its ability to shield the body from the harsh realities of the natural world and nothing more. But as human societies grew more complex, so did the meaning of our clothes. We began to imbue fabrics and styles with symbolic power. Clothing became a visual shorthand for our role in the world. A particular headdress could signify a spiritual leader. A specific color of dye, rare and difficult to produce, could be reserved exclusively for royalty, instantly communicating power and status. A soldier's uniform created a sense of unity and collective identity while simultaneously distinguishing them from civilians. The simple act of getting dressed became an act of participating in a shared cultural narrative, a way of telling the world who you are and where you belong. This evolution created a powerful system of social conditioning. From a very young age, we learn the unwritten rules of dress within our culture. We learn what is considered appropriate for a place of worship, a boardroom, or a celebration. We are taught that certain clothes command respect while others might invite ridicule or disdain. These are not just fashion tips. They are deep-seated cultural lessons about safety, belonging, and acceptance. Our clothing choices become a constant subconscious negotiation between our personal desires and the expectations of the society we live in, a balancing act we perform daily. Today, this cultural conditioning is more potent than ever. We are bombarded with images through media and advertising that tell us what is desirable, what is professional, and what is powerful. The contrast between ancient utility and modern meaning is stark. What was once a simple tool for physical survival has become a complex instrument for navigating the intricate landscape of social survival. The clothes we choose are no longer just about protecting our bodies from the elements. They are about aligning ourselves with a tribe, whether that tribe is a subculture or a particular social class. Beyond culture, clothing becomes intensely personal. It is one of the most powerful tools we have for constructing and expressing our own identity. Think of the teenager trying on different styles in their bedroom. They are not just trying on clothes, they are trying on identities. They are asking, who am I? And how do I show that person to the world? Each choice, the band t-shirt, the tailored blazer, the vintage dress, is a thread in the tapestry of self. We use clothing to experiment with who we want to be, projecting an image to the world in the hopes that it will be reflected back at us. This process of weaving the self is a deeply emotional one. Consider a young woman preparing for her first major job interview. She carefully selects a blazer not just because it adheres to a professional dress code, but because of how it makes her feel. When she puts it on, she stands a little taller. The structured fabric feels like a suit of armor, giving her a sense of confidence and competence. It is a physical manifestation of the person she wants to be in that room, poised, capable, and ready. The clothing is not just on her body, it is bolstering her spirit, helping her to inhabit the identity she needs to succeed. This armor serves a dual purpose. It projects an identity outward to others, but it also reinforces that identity inward to ourselves. This phenomenon is known as unclothed cognition. The idea that the clothes we wear can systematically influence our thought processes and psychological state. When we wear a doctor's lab coat, we tend to think more carefully and attentively. When we wear athletic clothes, we may feel more motivated to be active. The clothing is not magic, but it acts as a powerful mental cue, priming our brain to adopt the traits we associate with it. Therefore, our wardrobe becomes a collection of different suits of armor, each chosen to help us navigate a specific challenge or express a particular facet of who we are. It is an external representation of our internal world. We don't just wear clothes, we use them to become. They are the costume we choose for the role we are playing on any given day, whether that role is the confident leader, the creative artist, or the comforting friend. In this way, clothing moves beyond simple protection and becomes a fundamental part of the way we build and live our own story. When we talk about the ego, we are talking about our conscious sense of self, the part of us that feels pride, shame, confidence, insecurity. This is the part of our psyche that is most vulnerable to social judgment. The ego craves validation and fears criticism. It is constantly monitoring our social standing, asking, "How am I being perceived?" In this context, clothing becomes one of the ego's most effective shields. It is a controllable variable in the often uncontrollable world of social interaction, a way to manage perceptions before a single word is even spoken. Think of the power suit in a corporate environment. Its value is not just in its fine tailoring or expensive fabric. Its true power lies in the universally understood message it sends: authority, seriousness, competence. An executive wearing a sharp suit is using clothing as armor to protect their ego from being questioned or undermined. The suit creates a buffer, a professional distance that discourages overfamiliarity and commands a baseline of respect. It allows their ideas to be heard before their personality is judged, shielding the vulnerable self behind a facade of professional strength. This principle extends far beyond the boardroom. A leather jacket can project an aura of rebellion and toughness, protecting a sensitive ego from being perceived as weak. A designer handbag can signal wealth and taste, shielding the ego from judgments about social status. Even a simple, well-fitting t-shirt and jeans can project an image of effortless cool and confidence, protecting the ego from appearing as though it is trying too hard. In each case, the clothing is strategically deployed to defend against a specific perceived social threat and to fortify the ego's sense of worth. This is why a negative comment about our clothing can feel so deeply personal. It is rarely a critique of the fabric itself. It is perceived as a critique of our judgment, our taste, and, by extension, our very identity. The armor has been pierced, and the ego feels the blow. The unease we feel is the realization that our chosen shield has failed, leaving our sense of self exposed to the judgment we so desperately sought to avoid. Our clothes are inextricably linked to our ego, serving as a silent, ever-present guardian of our self-esteem in the complex arena of social life. In the end, our journey with clothing is a journey from the skin inward. It begins with the body's primal need for physical safety, a simple and ancient impulse to seek shelter from a dangerous world. This is the first layer, the practical foundation upon which everything else is built. Our brain, in its most basic form, understands fabric as a shield. It is a promise of warmth, a barrier against harm, the first thing that calms the ancient alarms that wire us for survival. This instinctual need for protection is the starting point for our profound and complex relationship with what we wear. From there, the meaning deepens, moving from the physical to the social. As we evolved into communal beings, our fear of exposure transformed. It became less about the threat of a predator and more about the threat of a judgmental gaze. We learned to use clothing as a language to communicate belonging, to signal our place within the tribe, to shield ourselves from the devastating possibility of social rejection. We dress not only for ourselves but for the collective, constantly navigating the intricate rules of our culture to ensure our social survival, a task just as critical as physical survival. Finally, clothing becomes the armor for our innermost self, our ego. It is the tool we use to build our identity, to project confidence when we feel insecure, to protect our fragile sense of worth from the relentless scrutiny of the outside world. Each garment is a choice, a statement, a shield, carefully selected to protect the vulnerable person within. It is a way of controlling our own narrative, of presenting a curated version of ourselves to the world, one that feels strong, capable, worthy of acceptance. The power suit, the leather jacket, the simple t-shirt, they are all shields for the ego. We began with a simple question about a layer of fabric. The answer, it seems, is as complex as we are. Clothing calms our brains by satisfying an ancient need for physical safety, but its true power lies in its ability to soothe our modern anxieties. It is a shield in a social world, a tool for identity, a comfort in our vulnerability. Maybe clothing doesn't just protect the body, it protects the ego. It is the thread that binds our physical, social, emotional selves together.